श्रीभगवानुवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनोरिक्ष्वाकवे ब्रवीत्. The personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. एवं परंपरा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Sa evayam maya tedya yogah proktah puratanah bhaktosi me sakha cheti rahasyam yetaduttamam. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Arjun Vach aparam bhavato janma param janma vivasvatah kathametadvijaniyam Tvamado proktavaniti. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivaswan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? Shri Bhagwanuvac Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Na Tvam Vedha Parantapa. The personality of Godhead said, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Ajopi sannavyayatma भूतानामीश्वरोऽपि सन् प्रकृतिं स्वामधिष्ठाय सम्भवाम्यात्ममायया. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyuthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjuna, वीतरागा भय क्रोधा मन्मया मामुपाश्रिता बहवो ज्ञान तपसा पूता मद्भावमागतः. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. ये यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तांस्तथैव भजाम्यहम् मम वर्तमानो वर्तन्ते मनुष्यः पार्थ सर्वशः. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. O son of Pratha, काङ्क्षन्तः कर्मणां सिद्धिं यजन्त इह देवतः क्षिप्रं हि मानुषे लोके सिद्धिर्भवति कर्मजा. Men in this world desire success in fruitive activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, man gets results from fruitive work in this world. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasah tasya kartaram api mam viddhay kartaram vyayam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me, and although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Na mam karmani limpanti na me karma phale spruha iti mam yobhijanati karma bhirna sabadhyate. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruitive reactions of work. Evam ज्ञात्वा कृतं कर्म पूर्वैरपि मुमुक्षुभिः कुरु कर्मेव तस्मात् त्वं पूर्वे पूर्वतरं कृतम्. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature. Therefore, you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. Kim karmeti kavayovyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshami yajgnatva mokshase shubhat. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all misfortune. Karmano yapi bodhavyam cha vikarmanah akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Karmanya karma yaha pasyeda कर्मणि च कर्म यः स बुद्धिमान् मनुष्येषु स युक्तः कृत्सन्न कर्मकृत्. One who sees in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitah ज्ञानाग्निदग्ध कर्माणं तमाहो पंडितं बुधा. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every endeavor is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker for whom the reactions of work have been burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं नित्यतृप्तो निराशया कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Nirashirya chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvannapnoti kilbisham. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Yadrukchalabhasantushto dvandvatito vimatsarha samasiddhavasiddhau cha krutvapi na nibadhyate. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavasthita chetasah यज्ञायाचरतः कर्म samagram praviliyate. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagno brahmanahutam ब्रह्मेव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. दैवमेवापरे यज्ञं योगिनः पर्युपासते ब्रह्माज्ञावपरे यज्ञं यज्ञेनैवोपजुह्वति. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. श्रोत्रादीनीन्द्रियानन्ये संयमाग्निषु जुह्वति शब्दादीन् विषयानन्य इन्द्रियाग्निषु जुह्वति. Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. Sarvandriya karmani prana karmani cha pare atma sayyama yogagno juvati jnana dipite. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Dravya yajnastapo yajna yoga yajnastatha pare swadhyaya yajnana yajnascha yatayah samsita vrataha. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Apane juvati pranam prane panam tatha pare pranapanagati ruddhva pranayama parayana apare niyataharaha pranan pranesu juvati. Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. Sarve pete yajna vido yajna kshapita kalmashaha yajna shishtamrita bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme eternal atmosphere. Nayam lokostya yajnasya kuto nyaha kuru sattama. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? Evam bahuvida yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam gnatva vimokshase. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Shreyan dravyamayat yajnat jnana yajnah parantapa sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. O sister of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Tadvidhi pranipaten परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. यज्ञात्वा न पुनर्मोहम् एवं यास्यसि पाण्डव येन भूतान्यशेषाणि द्रक्ष्यस्यात्मन्यथो मयि. Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. Api chedasi papebhya sarvebhya papakrittamah sarvam jnanaplaveneva vrajinam santarishasi. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Yathedhansi samidhognir bhasmat kuruterjuna jnanagniha sarvakarmani bhasmat kurute tatha. As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reaction to material activities. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitramiha vidyate tat swayam yoga sansiddha kalenatmani vindati. In this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Shraddhavam labhate jnanam tatparha samyatendriya jnanam labdhva param shantim achirenadhigacchati. A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Agnyascha shraddhadanascha संशयात्मा विनश्यति नायं लोकोऽस्ति न परो न सुखं संशयात्मनः. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Yoga sannasta karamanam jnana sanchinna sanshayam atmavantam na karamani nibadhananti dhananjaya. One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reaction of work, O conqueror of riches. Tasmad jnana sambhutam hridhstham jnanasinatmanha chitvenam sanshayam yogam atishthotistha bharata. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.